Well, good evening and welcome back to episode 23 of True Crime with the Bad Girl and the Playa. I am Benny Scala, aka the Playa, and I think I have a new little subtitle, Sir Prime of Monday Night Crime on the bottom. And with me, as always, is my partner in true crime. She is bombastic and bodacious, and her passion for true crime is voracious. And I could only be talking about Brittany Brown. Brittany, how are you?
I am good, but I'm not liking the time change at
No.
all. Way too different.
Yeah.
It's
What a
getting
bummer.
way too cold, way too quick.
Absolutely. No, I
How
totally
are
agree.
you?
I'm great. Yeah, life is good. No more hurricanes, hopefully, till next year.
No,
You know,
yeah, let's hope.
I watched the YouTube videos on how to do the backstroke and the Australian crawl, and fortunately, didn't have to use it.
Good,
But
good, but
yeah,
you got it on the back burner.
yep, yeah. If it ever happened, yeah, it's like the guy in Caddyshack said. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
Good, good, good.
But bad girl, before we get into this week's episode, we need to do a little business here. Word from our sponsor. True Crime with the Bad Girl and the Playa is brought to you by the Burbrower Law Firm. Folks, if you've been injured in a car accident, please reach out to our good friend Adam Burbrower at the Burbrower Law Firm. Adam and his crew do things the right way with great results. Not only is Adam a great attorney, but the dude has framed pictures of Ernie Ladd and Johnny Rods in his office. We got to get him one of the Boston Bad Girl. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So if you see Adam at the community pool trying to nail that ever elusive triple Lindy, you're going to notice that he has superstar Billy Graham tattooed on his back and Bret the Hitman Hart on his chest. You talk about a wrestling fan. The guy is not only the man of the hour, the man with the legal power, too sweet to be sour. He is also the excellence of elocution. Besides being a great guy, Adam is a true crime aficionado and an avid WWF and a WWF historian. Who else is going to get you a great settlement while breaking down Mighty Joe Thunder's greatest matches? I think there was 4 of them. I mean, not even great. It was 4 matches, period. But check out Adam at burbrowerlawfirm.com or burbrowerlaw.com and follow him on Facebook. And do not forget to tell him that the Bad Girl and the Playa sent you. So before we get into business, Miss Brittany, just a quick disclaimer, and this is to everybody who listens to us. Brittany is a retired wrestler and an insurance person, right?
Yes.
And I am a semi-retired finance guy and a writer / podcaster. We are not experts. I know there's a lot of fact finders out there that like to nitpick stuff. If we're not detectives, we're not cops, we're not lawyers. So if you're looking for expert legal analysis, I would recommend Vinnie Politan on Court TV or Nancy Grace. So she's kind of abrasive though, Nancy Grace. But Vinnie Politan is a good guy. But if you want to just chat true crime, make believe you're at Buffalo Wild Wings with us, eating wings and drinking a cold one. We're your show. Right, Bad Girl?
Absolutely,
we're
100%.
Two normal people who love true crime and love chatting about it.
That's right.
Yep. Well, guys, I got to say that as bizarre as last week's Sarah Boone after the suitcase murder, that episode was, there were times that I kind of felt like it was a little bit comedic, although it had a tragic ending. But tonight we are talking flat out tragic and heartbreaking. Bad Girl, why don't you tell our friends out there what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Playa, unfortunately, you are so right. It is beyond heartbreaking. On February 14th, Valentine's Day, no less, 2017, the bodies of Liberty, also known as Libby German, age 14, and her best friend Abigail, known as Abby Williams, age 13, were found brutally murdered near the Monon High Bridge, part of the historic Delphi High Trails in Delphi, Indiana.
That is, just so sad. That's Abby is on the left. She was 13. Liberty / Libby on the right. She was 14. And let me I wanted to show a picture of this bridge. Let me where
Yeah. Well,
actually let me, it doesn't look that bad when you look at it this way. It looks
right.
like you're walking on the train tracks, right? But
Right.
then
It's exactly what it looks like.
it's exactly. Oof, I get nervous just looking at that. I am not a height person, so yeah, they were adventurous for sure.
Yeah, it's not something I would do.
No, you and me both. No, I just more than 5 feet up. I don't even like going on a ladder, but I'm rarely at a loss for words, bad girl. But I mean, this is just so sad. There's a lot to this case, and most of which I was clueless about until I started doing some research. So why don't you be so kind and fill everybody in?
Sure, Playa. Sadly, it took over 5.5 years to solve this case. As early as February 15th, the day after 2017, Indiana State Police began circulating a still image of an individual reportedly seen on the Monon High Bridge Trail that the Playa just showed us, near where the two friends were slain. The grainy photograph appears to capture a Caucasian male, hands in pocket, head down, walking on the rail bridge towards the girls. A few days later, the person in the photograph was named the prime suspect in the double homicide. On February 22nd, law enforcement released an audio recording during which the voice of the suspect, although muffled, is heard to say, "Down the hill." At this news conference, officials credited the source of the audio and imagery to Libby's smartphone and further regarded her as a hero for having had the presence of mind and fortitude to secretly record the exchange. It's quite amazing for that age, or
Absolutely.
for any age under these circumstances, but especially for that young age. Now, police indicated that additional evidence from the phone had been secured, but would not release further details so as not to compromise any future trial. By this time, the reward offered in the case was set at $41,000. On July 17th, police distributed a composite sketch of someone sought as a person of prime interest in the murders. The sketch was apparently created from an eyewitness account from a hiker on the Delphi Historic Trails the day the girls vanished. On April 22nd, 2019, Indiana State Police announced a new direction in the case and released a new sketch of the suspect while urging the public to look at the sketch, listen to the audio, watch how the man walks on the bridge, and sends tips to the tip line email. Investigators stated that they had reason to believe that the suspect might be hiding in plain sight and was almost certainly familiar with the Delphi area from living there, working there, or for other reasons. On July 23rd, 2019, a suspect who had been wanted for a kidnapping and rape in Tippecanoe County was named as one of the multiple suspects being investigated for the Williams and German murders, according to Carroll County Sheriff Toby Leonsby. The suspect had died by suicide the previous month. On April 27th, 2021, Indiana State Police detectives named another suspect as a new person of interest in the murders. Finally, on October 26th, 2022, a suspect named Richard Allen was taken into custody and appeared in court on October 28th. On October 31st, 2022, Indiana State Police announced that Allen had, in fact, been charged with 2 counts of murder in this case. He pled not guilty. His trial, originally scheduled to start March 20th, 2023, was postponed to allow the defense team to review discovery materials. 2 public defenders were appointed to represent the suspect. On November 29th, 2022, Judge Francis Gull issued an order to unseal the probable cause affidavit that led to Richard Allen's arrest. According to the redacted document, Video footage recovered from German's phone showed one of the victims mentioning gun as a man wearing a dark jacket and jeans approached them and ordered them to go down the hill. Investigators believe the suspect is the man seen in the video. Investigators also found a .40 caliber unspent round less than 2 feet from one of the victims' bodies, but between the two victims, it was later determined that the round came from a gun owned by Allen. A witness said she saw a man walking away from the bridge wearing a blue colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. Another witness and a tip mentioned that a car was parked oddly and appeared to be parked in a way as if to hide its license plate. Investigators said the description of the vehicle matched a vehicle that Allen owned in 2017. According to a probable cause affidavit, Allen was interviewed by the police in 2017 and said he was on the trail that afternoon for about 2 hours. The document also said that in a subsequent interview in October 2022, Allen told authorities he had worn jeans and a black or blue jacket that day and had gone to the bridge to watch fish.
That's
Can you
watch
imagine?
watch fish. That's kind of odd,
Watch
right?
fish.
Yeah. So I want to apologize. That was a bit wordy, but I think it was really important background information because you got to keep in mind that as of next Valentine's Day, those poor girls will have been gone for 8 years. I mean, not only did it take almost 6 years to find Allen, but then it took almost 2 more to bring it to trial. And I do believe, I mean, he was, when they say in plain sight, they had a tip on him for years that got misfiled.
Oh,
So I mean, this could have been over a long time. Well, maybe, assuming it. But Brittany, there's so much to this case. So I have some notes I wrote down, and we'll kind of maybe go through them one by one. Here's something that a little bit of background on the guy. Been married for over 30 years with one adult child, and he's held a long-term job at CVS as a pharmacy tech. Now, at first blush, you would think, well, how could it be him? He's a normal guy. He's been holding down, functioning in society for years and years. But
right.
I will point to Gary Ridgway, who had the same job painting trucks for about the same time, had a long-term marriage, and that was the Green River Killer, who, he has 48 kills to his credit, and in all likelihood, it's probably closer to 100. But,
Exactly.
just ordinary guy, married, kid, long-term wife, long-term job. Even that Dennis Rader, BTK, the guy in Wichita, Kansas, same thing. Guy was a deacon in his church, long-term marriage, kids,
It's crazy.
I think he was he worked for animal control, I believe, for the local government. Same thing though.
Wow.
I mean, everybody thought, what a great guy. He's a leader at his church, and so you never really know. So I mean,
I'll say.
I was, we were talking about this backstage that I've been watching, and I'm sure you have too, a lot of videos on this, and I'm amazed at the comments. The majority of the comments seem to think that the guy is innocent and he's being framed. And I wonder if a lot of it has to do with the fact that, he does have that stability, but that can be misleading.
Agree. I mean, like you said, you gave some pretty darn good comparisons to pretty much the model life of these various killers. I mean, how did that other guy get away with 48 that we know about, like you said, murders? He's got a wife, kids, he goes to work every day, keeps the same job down, and nobody suspects a thing until there's 48 of them that can be proven.
48 proven, yeah. God only knows how many. And even Ted Bundy. Now, Bundy didn't fit the same model as having a wife and kids and a long-term job, but the guy was very intelligent, very charismatic. Um, not. I think he was a law student, not somebody that you would think. I mean, most of these people are, they don't look like the prototypical serial killer. They look perfectly normal. But one thing I wanted to get into is the confessions. So
Yeah.
he initially, before he got picked up, he denied his involvement, but once he got arrested, he confessed 61 times. That's crazy. Yeah. To his wife, his mother, his family, I think his cellmates, his psychologist. That was one of the witnesses. Her name is Dr. Monica Wala, Wala. And he confessed in great detail to her. And that is, I think, that is the prosecution's, that's one of their, linchpins of their evidence is that, well, like I confessed. But, and we were talking about this before too, and I still don't understand why the guy, when you get arrested for a crime, typically you get put in jail. And then if you are convicted, you go to prison, right?
Right.
Right. And this guy, somehow he got picked up, and he went right, do not pass go. He went right to prison. And not only did he go to prison, he was in solitary confinement for over a year. And by all accounts, it significantly deteriorated his mental state, as it would anybody. I mean, I couldn't imagine, no Chinese takeout for a year, no Grandma Sally's. I mean, even just the food alone, I'd go crazy.
Oh, goodness. No pizza? I mean, come on. No peanut butter? What are you kidding me?
Right. But, and all of the confessions were made after he was in solitary for a significant time period.
Wow. So he never confessed before he went to solitary at all?
No. So that's what, it seems like, I mean, for every strong point of evidence that the state thinks they have, the defense is countering. Like in this case, they're saying, well, how can you really trust the confession? People have confessed in the past to crimes they haven't done.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I would think that much solitary would break anybody.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I did it. Like, let's get it over with. What do I need? Where do I need to sign? Maybe it'll get me out of solitary.
Just leave me alone. Get me out of here. Give me normal food.
Yeah, then at least I'll be in court, But and the funny thing is, initially, and I think his defense team is still stating this, and I don't even know what. Maybe somebody in the chat room knows what an Odinist is. Odinist, like a Norse, a Norseman, a Viking. That it was an Odinist ritualistic killing. Now, I've never heard of such thing. Have you? Oh, we lost Brittany. Come back, Brittany. Give it a minute here. Give us 1 second, guys. Is she there? There she is.
Hello, I'm back.
Disappeared there.
That was weird.
Yeah, I was just saying that initially, and I think they're still using it, they're contending that the case was an Odinistic, ritualistic killing. And I don't know what an Odinist is. I mean, I know like Odin was a Norse god, I believe. Phil would probably know. Phil's like MacGyver.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah. Phil, what's an Odinist? And why would they kill anybody? Oh, yeah. I've heard of the screaming eagle as punishment in Norse, but not this. And that was from Jason. Oh, Phil said no effing ZD. Yeah, if I was in prison, Phil, I'd miss a lot of things. ZD would be one of them too. Definitely.
With you, Phil.
I'd miss my grandma Sally's every morning. Just getting my where everybody knows your name, and yeah, having my pancakes or my they call it the Playa omelet now. It's a meatball omelet, but they're going to rename it after me. But yeah, so yeah, they were saying it was this ritualistic killing, and it wasn't him. The state actually presented 40 witnesses, and they
Oh,
arrested, I think, last Thursday rather. And now the defense, they have a boatload of witnesses. I think they're going to interview a lot of his family to say like it's absolutely crazy to think that he did it.
yeah, I'm sure they would get like family and coworkers, especially where he's had the same job for so long. And if
Right,
there's other people that have known him, I know people come and go and those kind of jobs, at least they do around here. I don't know about where he's from, but I mean, he's been there. He's been a steady person back there. If there's, like a pharmacy manager, a pharmacist that had been there for 10 plus years and worked with him, I'm
right.
sure they're gonna get called. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, like yeah, his boss, his coworkers. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of people.
Neighbors.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, but I mean, if you're going to do something like this, I would think, well, this is not a serial killing. So, I mean, a serial killer, I mean, I think they develop a long-term behavior pattern to hide what they
Right.
do. But this was by all accounts a one-off. The guy has no criminal history whatsoever, as far as I know.
Well, let's hope it's a one-off. Like, what, are there any other missing young girls in that area?
Yeah, I don't think so, but um, the funny thing was the police, I guess a couple of days after they found their bodies, um, they reached out to the community. And Delphi I think it's a town of about 3,000 people. That's a small town in Indiana. Um,
Yeah.
if anybody had been in the area that day, and he actually came forth immediately and said that he had been on the bridge that day, but he said he
Yeah,
was
that
there at a
seems.
different time.
Oh,
But I
interesting.
mean, if you look at him and then you look at, let me see, that's him, right? Uh,
Yeah.
oh, that was there's the suspect pic, the artist depictions. It looks like the first
Interesting.
one actually is a lot closer than the second one.
I
The
agree.
one on the right is the newer one. The one on the left, that looks, I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch, but I could almost, see that.
Yeah, the one on the left, you put a cap on that middle photo and you cut that goatee, that's pretty darn close.
Yeah. But you look at
Yep.
him, and then you look at, let me get off and get this one back on. Yeah, I mean, it's very grainy,
Yeah.
but I mean, and if you can, I mean, this is a crappy version of it. I think if you could really see it up close, you could see where it could be him.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously not enough to be on a reasonable doubt kind of thing. It's like
Exactly.
yeah, it's not showing his
Exactly.
face.
Yeah, that's just
But
too grainy. Too
but the
grainy.
guy came forth right away, which was kind of odd.
Yeah, that is. Although, is that a tactic of, oh yeah, hey, I was there that day, but it was 4 hours earlier or 4 hours later.
Right.
Is that to clear my name?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, who knows what his motive is? Maybe that was, let me volunteer. If I volunteer, they're probably going to think, well, this guy has nothing to hide, so he couldn't have done it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you never know.
Exactly.
But
Yeah. Definitely two ways to look at that.
right, and then we also talked about the fact that in his confessions, they seem to be very detailed. Not seem to, they were very detailed.
Mhm.
But and correct me if I'm wrong here. Um, my understanding is, as part of discovery, he had received a boatload of info from the police. So, which would include the manner of death, how they were, how the bodies were found, which I think was under a bunch of branches or twigs,
Mhm.
where the bodies were found, etc. so that um, he had access to all that info.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he confessed, but he didn't. If he had no access to that info, I'd say absolutely positively,
Right.
right. But the fact that he did have access to that info, really, that's another thing that the prosecution is saying. Well, the confessions were detailed, and the defense is countering. Well, yeah, of course they're going to be detailed because he had the file.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
another
That
thing,
was a big mistake.
yes, absolutely. And another thing is that let's see, they found and I'm not a gun person, but they found a 40 caliber Smith and Wesson cartridge between the two girls, I
Mhm.
believe,
Yeah.
and they did some very. I'm not a ballistics expert, but they somehow the state presented I guess an armorer. Remember that term from the Alec Baldwin
Oh,
trial?
oh yeah.
And it was her opinion that the bullet um, found at the scene wasn't uh, fired, but that it was in the gun of Richard Allen because he had the same kind of gun at home, and
Yeah.
um, and he even mentioned supposedly in one of the confessions that he had problems with his gun, and he thinks it might have been at the scene. But again, I mean that could be breaking down and knowing that a shell casing was found, and he made up
Yeah.
a story that you just don't know. But again,
Yeah.
the defense is countering, the prosecution saying, well, look, I mean, they found a bullet and it matches his gun, but the defense is saying, yeah, but they had to fire rounds, and they matched the fired rounds to the unfired round, and that's not really solid ballistics testing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's too bad that he was given access to all that information because that kind of like almost ruins the case.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And I didn't think that was normal.
Absolutely not. That's crazy.
Right.
I mean, I would think that would be grounds for a mistrial, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would think so too. A lot of people are thinking that the police are just trying to railroad this guy. That this is my opinion, and I'll ask you for yours. My opinion is, I do think. I mean, it's just too many coincidences. He does resemble the sketch. He does resemble a bridge guy. They found a 40 caliber Smith and Wesson cartridge. He owns a Smith and Wesson gun. He confessed. It did have a lot of details. I mean, when you take all of that, and did we talk about the fact that no, I think we talked about it backstage. He was familiar with these girls because I think the grandmother, Libby's, the older one's grandma, testified that they brought their pictures to CVS to be developed,
Mm.
and he did not charge them, which means like he actually, I'm sure he saw the picture of the girl, probably multiple pictures of the girl. So he was
Yeah.
familiar with the girl. She wasn't a random stranger.
Okay.
So I
That's
mean,
interesting.
but then again, how like apparently these girls had a day off from school, and they decided they were going to do this, this hike. I guess these trails are very historic in Delphi, but
Hmm.
I just just thinking of that bridge gives me the creeps. Like,
Oh my
it shows how
goodness.
high it is. Like with no safety, like God forbid, what if one of the, I'm assuming it's wood. What if one of the
Yeah.
pieces of wood gives out?
Oh my God.
Right?
I
You,
mean,
you
how many hundreds of feet
I
drop
think
would that be? I
I
can't even
think it
imagine.
was. I googled it, and I think, and I could be wrong again. I thought I saw 682 feet. So
Whoa.
about 1/6 of a mile, long enough.
Oh no, no, thank you. No,
Yeah,
thank you.
can't flap your wings on the way down. It's not a Bugs Bunny cartoon, right?
You know what? I get the heebie-jeebies driving over the Bourne Bridge, and I can't wait for it to be over. So I cannot imagine physically walking on that rickety old, what looks like a rickety old, weathered wooden bridge that's that high.
Right.
Oh, no.
I don't see the fun in it unless there was like a pizza shop at the other end of it. Then nah, you know what? Nah, I'd call Uber. Let them go get it.
Right, exactly.
I just yeah. That's what they wanted to do, but I think well, how would he have known that particular day that they were going to do that? And apparently, he lived fairly close to that bridge. So
I
I don't.
wonder if his home, if you can see the entrance, entrance, exit, whatever,
Yeah, maybe
where people get on the bridge.
right, and maybe he saw. I believe the mother, one of the mothers, dropped them both off. They didn't walk there. I
Yeah.
mean, they got a ride to the trail, and then they started walking on the bridge. So
Wow. I'm
maybe like you
sorry.
said, maybe he happened to see them and thought, okay. And I think whoever did it, I would think that this is something that they were going to do.
I would think.
And
I
there's
would
there's
think. And I wonder if they've ever done this hike before.
oh, you mean the girls?
Like,
Or
is
the
this maybe the third time he's seen them get dropped off there? And he said,
maybe,
okay,
yeah.
today's the day.
Yeah, they didn't say whether it was, the first time they ever did that.
Yeah, I wonder.
But yeah,
Goodness.
there's just so much to it. I mean, and the other thing was that supposedly he was just going to sexually assault them, but then he saw a van, I believe, and I guess, and I don't get that. Then he decided to kill them. I don't get why, if he was gonna sexually assault him and he saw a van, I would think, like, wouldn't you think, well, crap, now I'm gonna get caught? Wouldn't you just like run the other way?
I would, but my guess is he's thinking if I just sexually assault them, then they can run and find the people in that van.
Right, and they can identify me too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And, obviously DNA, right? So if I kill them, then they can't go to the people in that van and
right.
all will be hidden. That's just the mind of a crazy person.
But now, do
Jeez.
you think they got the right guy?
I can't honestly say that I feel that he is. If he wasn't provided with all those details, I would say yes.
100%, right?
Yep, but the fact that he had all those details and that's exactly what he remembers doing and seeing and et cetera, then how I don't know. How do you even go forward with this? What do you do?
Right.
Imagine being on that jury.
This is not going to be what was Sarah Boone, an hour and a half, and that included, they had their meal break, so they had,
Right.
like, yeah, I don't know, Long John Silver's, and like, they ate for an hour and 15 minutes. They said, raise your hands, guilty. Okay, we're done. Yeah, this is going to be a little more complicated. I would imagine that, like, this deliberation is going to take days, not hours.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. I can't imagine being on this jury and seeing half of the people, maybe half of the people, oh, he did it, look at the sketch and he lives there and blah blah blah, and then other people, but wait a minute, he's been at the same job, he's been with the same woman, lived in the same house, has kids, why would he do this? He's got no past criminal history. What would
Right.
prompt this? And then, I mean, is there any DNA evidence?
No, there is not. The one thing we
Okay.
didn't talk about was on her phone. They heard a voice, from the guy saying down the hill, and I would think with the technology we have today, wouldn't you be able to match that up? Because that
I
would be
would
very,
think
very
so.
incriminating.
I would think so. And I find that again amazing that that girl thought to do that. That would have been the last thing on my mind. Even being a true crime podcaster,
Right?
I don't think I would think, oh, let me get my phone out and hit record. Although you never know. If you have the time and you have the ability to do it, I don't think I'd just, walk behind him shaking. I think I would probably grab my phone, but
Right.
amazing that a young girl would think to do that
Yeah,
because
because I
might be
mean
the key to this whole case.
that she had the foresight to like. I mean, I'm sure she was panicked, but at least she was still
Yeah,
thinking. And I mean,
absolutely.
she's really the one who caught him, as far as I'm. If it's him,
Yeah. Yeah. If they can forensically match that voice, you know what? She solved her own murder.
right?
Imagine that.
Yeah, I
Crazy.
I this is definitely going to be a two-parter. We didn't really
Yes.
cover much of the trial, well, not, except for the fact that I mentioned that they had 40. The state had 40 witnesses, and the defense, I believe, I don't think that they had court today because I try to normally I'll go on court TV live at 9 in the morning, and I can follow it, but I didn't see anything all day. So maybe they had the day off for some reason.
Could be. And then tomorrow's probably off because it's, voting day.
Yes, yes. Well, maybe they just had a couple of day hiatus just for that.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could
I
be. But this is going to be interesting for sure.
yeah, I don't think this is going to be a Karen Reed. We did what, 4 episodes on Karen Reed
Right.
so far because I don't think we're done with that one yet.
That's right.
I am still like I'm absolutely fascinated by that case. That one, you guys sucked me into that one, but I'm so glad you did because I mean I was hooked, totally hooked.
Yeah. And it's funny. I knew nothing about it. And Dangerous Dave called me up and said, "Hey, what do you think about?" And I said, "Who?" And he said, What do you?" He was like insulted that I didn't know what he was talking about. And when he started telling me everything, and I Googled it and I watched some, court TV, I watched some, that video of them at the waterfall and all of that. And I just thought, oh my God, this is such a setup. She is totally being set up. He's
Right.
right. And then he's like, you guys should do a podcast on that. And I was like, Betty, you got to see this. So
Yeah.
this is Dangerous Dave, I'll tell you, because I don't watch the news. I refuse to watch it because all it is bad. So the information that I get is either, if I happen to see something, on Facebook, or if I happen to be Googling something and there's something else below it, or from friends. And Dave is a good friend of mine, and he told me all about it. He said, "Hey, I'm obsessed with this case." And I thought, that's weird. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, why, knowing Dave, I figured, oh, he must be obsessed because she must be hot or something. So let me look. And I said, oh, she's not bad. I can see why he's
No, she was. I think she. I mean, very attractive woman and very intelligent.
oh, very,
Well
yes.
educated, professional.
Presents herself amazing, especially for
Yes.
everything she's
Yeah.
going through. But yeah, he's the one that got me hooked on that. And I'll tell you, I am still to this day, I'm pissed about what's being done to her. And I was going to a luncheon the other day and for the first time saw a free Karen Reed. A whole bunch of people on both sides of the bridge. I was in Massachusetts and near probably 2 towns away, 1 or 2 towns away from where it happened. And everybody's in pink. They had up the free Karen Reed. I had never seen that live myself, like Phil did.
Right.
But I did finally. So I beat the horn and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Phil
But
said we are
yeah,
not done with Karen Reed, and I'm going to get down there at least once when the new trial starts. Judge Canone is presiding over the new trial. I did not know that.
oh my God. No,
I didn't care for her at all.
no.
I think she was way too prosecution friendly.
Absolutely 100%. And plus, didn't she know the proctors and all those cops? Didn't she know them Didn't somebody they were calling her Auntie Bev or something?
It was a very tangled web of, not really nepotism, but yeah, kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
they all knew each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
See,
had a relationship with one of them, one of the cops.
yeah.
Somehow it was a very tangled web. But yeah, so I'm really I'm really stunned. I'm stunned by that. I am too. I am completely shocked. But I
Yeah.
mean, I have to say, as a true crime junkie, I mean, it'll be a fix. I will watch every minute of it.
Yeah. Yep. And we will be reporting back
I was
on our
saying we will cover it. Phil, you have an open invite. I mean, Phil, you're welcome back anytime. But
of
yeah,
course.
absolutely for that. I mean, and Dave's got to come back. I don't care what but we'll pay him for his job. Like we'll pay him for we'll pay his PTO.
There you go.
We'll start a GoFundMe for Dave. Free Dave from his job. Yeah, I that is I Phil. If you're still there, when is that supposed to happen?
Yeah. When is this supposed to happen? And I cannot believe that it would be allowed legally that she presides over this. I can't believe it.
No.
I just can't.
Oh, Phil's
I
saying
couldn't believe it the
late
first
January.
time.
Thanks, Phil.
Wow. Well, it's
That's
right around the
far.
corner.
Yeah, I was going to say, my initial thought was, wow, that's far away. But I'm thinking, wait a minute, today's November the 4th.
Yep.
They already started playing Christmas music at Grandma Sally's. I said, can you
I
maybe
saw
just
that.
wait till after Thanksgiving? I love you guys, but a little bit too soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Give it a
Definitely.
few weeks. But yeah, no,
Goodness.
that will be, once that happens, we are going to drop what we're doing, and that becomes our agenda.
Definitely.
I'm
Definitely.
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Me too. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this case too.
Yes,
The
yeah,
more that I know about it and the fact that we've been able to discuss it and you've done so much research and we've watched several things on it. I'm very interested to see where this goes. I really
yeah.
am.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we will be back next week. It might be over by then. I'm going to say it's probably not going to be over by then, but it might be close. I mean, they might be.
Yeah.
I'm going to predict that by next Monday night, they will be in deliberations. That's going to be my guess.
Okay.
Because it's not going to be. It ain't, like I said, it's not going to be. It's not going to be a Sarah Boone deliberation. This is going to be a whole different. How long was Karen Reed? That
Oh
was
my God, days.
days, right? I mean,
Yeah, because remember it went over the weekend and then we thought Monday
yeah,
for sure.
it was right. And then she read
Yeah.
them that Rodriguez, they call it the Johnny Rods, whatever she told him, which like meant, I guess it's supposed to like make them come to it was absolutely useless. I don't know why she even read it, but I guess they have to. And yeah, I mean, I knew at that point that there was no way there was gonna be a verdict of any kind other than a hung trial. But
Yeah.
this is going to be an early night, bad girl. I got to say this case was fascinating to research, but I mean, every time I saw a picture of those girls, it absolutely broke my heart. They had their entire lives ahead of them. I think Libby would have been 22 and Abby would have been 21. So like, getting ready to graduate from college. How did you feel? When you saw their faces.
Oh my God. Both of them broke my heart, but the one that looked so young, I mean, they both look angelic, but the little one, I was just like, oh my God, I think of myself at that age, and I think of everything in life that I've been able to do and experience, whether it be work or friendships or family or pets or whatever it is. And these girls miss out on all of that for what? For
Right, high
what?
school, prom, getting married, having kids, jobs,
Oh,
everything, just life.
just I just feel so bad for their family. I mean, I do, obviously, we both do, for everybody's family that this happens to. But when they're two innocent young girls that just get preyed upon like this, and
Right.
oh my God, and then to have to live through all of this as well.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody, oh, I did it 61 times, and then, oh, well, is he really the one? I mean, oh God, just
I I
so
I
sad.
am very interested to see how this all plays out. I kind of have a feeling that I know, but you never really know. You kind of have an idea. I mean, I knew with Sarah Boone, the minute they went into deliberation, I knew that, like, I knew that they would have a verdict that night, and
Oh yeah.
I would have been shocked if it was anything other than what they came back with. But
Oh, I
this
agree.
this one has just got so many wrinkles to it. But
Ugh,
so we'll be back. We'll be back next week for part 2 of this one. And again, thanks to our usual suspects. Jason likes that in the chat room. The Playmate, Phil, um, Jason. Who else is there? Yeah, it's a pretty light chat room tonight. Everybody's watching the election stuff, I guess. Um, but we got plenty more planned for you. So make sure you subscribe to the Money and the Power YouTube channel so you won't miss any notifications. And don't forget to join yours truly and my co-host Dan Sebastiano tomorrow night. We're actually going at 7:00 Eastern time. We're going to break down the fairly lackluster, in my opinion, Crown Jewel PLE. It was serviceable at best. It was
yeah,
very mediocre. If I was a college professor, I would have given it like maybe a solid C, maybe even a C minus.
I agree.
Yeah. So for the Boston Bad Girl, this is the Playa telling everyone to stay safe and see you next crime. See you next Monday. Don't forget to vote.